Let's fix the big problem with the millennials once and for all. See, I actually used to think that the millennials had a problem, that they were lazy, that they were undriven, they weren't ambitious or motivated. They wanted the fast results and they weren't really willing to put the work in. And in fact, I used to think that millennials were allergic to hard work. And yeah, it is pretty prevalent amongst millennials. But the truth of the matter is that this issue is really a big issue amongst many generations. Because if you were the type of person who was maybe bubble wrapped your whole life when you were growing up as a kid, and you weren't allowed to make mistakes, and you weren't allowed to have a fault, and everything was someone else's fault, and responsibility was never put upon your shoulders, well, guess what? Then you probably are having a bit of a tough life right now, but we're gonna work through that. But this message is especially for millennials who wanna become leaders, entrepreneurs, who want to make a big impact in the world. Because right now, at this very moment, while I'm filming here in my house, there's an army of millennials running our 8-figure empire, our international franchise at my office. And so I gotta tell you, you can't blame the millennials. And if you're an entrepreneur right now and you're coming from a different generation and you're blaming the millennials, it's not their fault. It might be their parents' fault, it's not their fault. Now, millennials, where it becomes your fault is if you decide to stay indecisive, to not emotionally grow and mature, and to not become a person of influence, to not basically grow into the shoes that you belong in, right? And so like I was saying, if you were bubble wrapped as a kid, or your training wheels were left on too long on your bike, and maybe you just were told that it's okay to lose and that everyone's a winner, truth is, not everyone's a winner. There are losers in life. There are losers in the wild kingdom. You look at the gazelle, it's gonna get eaten by a lion if it's not paying attention, right? And so there are always winners and losers in life. That's how life is. And losing is okay, failing is okay, adversity is okay, challenges are okay and they're accepted. Why? Because those are the things we use to grow. But if as a child you were never given the opportunity to deal with challenges, to overcome them, you weren't taught how to overcome the obstacles that life gives you, then when the first time you get it is in a work environment, you might have an emotional meltdown, you might have a breakdown, you might take criticism about your work as a personal attack on your character. That's not true. Listen, if you're a millennial, you're going into the workforce, you're gonna be a leader, you're gonna create videos like this, you're gonna write a book, you're gonna have to deal with criticism. Criticism about your work can make you better at what you do. Criticism about your work, it's not a direct influence on who you are as a person. It's not a direct impact in a negative way on your character. You might be a great person, you might have a good heart, but you might have criticism given to you in a constructive fashion, or maybe in a non-constructive fashion. But it's up to you to reframe that, see? And this is the tool that people who were bubble wrapped don't know how to use, their reframe tool. And people who were bubble wrapped their whole life don't realize that you can use adversity to your advantage. Because just like when you go to the gym and you lift weights, and the more weights you lift and the longer you lift them, your muscles grow and your body evolves and adapts and gets stronger, adversity is a good thing. Adversity increases your mental muscles, your entrepreneurial muscles. It builds you stronger as a leader. And so you want to deal with adversity. It's not that the world wants bad for you, it's that the world is kind of constructed with bumps and craters and well, there's a lot of dead squirrels on the road to success, right? And when I say there's a lot of dead squirrels on the road to success, what I mean is these squirrels were indecisive. They didn't know how to make a decision. Get used to making fast decisions. Get in the habit of taking constructive criticism and knowing that it might only reflect on your work and not on you as a person and not on your character. Get in the habit of being decisive and making fast decisions. Get in the habit of always taking responsibility for what happens to you, right? Even if you think it's not your fault, it is your fault. You put yourself there. The circumstances that you're in are a byproduct of the actions that you took. Don't you agree? So again, the problem here is not with millennials. Again, it's prevalent in the millennial generation. The problem is with anybody who's been bubble wrapped, who's been treated like a little prince or princess their whole life, who has never been told no, and now as an adult, they're expected to just glide through life. But the reality is the road to success, my friend, is always under construction. And if you're not willing to deal with the bumps and the craters and the rocks and the roots, the detours that come along, the failures and the adversities and the challenges and obstacles, those are the things that help you build your mental, emotional, and entrepreneurial muscles. So what are the big takeaways for you if you're a millennial? What are the big takeaways that you can use to become a strong, resilient entrepreneur? Number one, I want you to not only focus on your IQ, but I want you to start focusing on your emotional quotient as well, and your adversity quotient. So what are emotional quotients and adversity quotients? Well, think about this. Things are going to go wrong. People are going to say bad things about you. People are going to unlike a post on social media. People are going to leave really bad comments on your YouTube videos and on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram and on Snapchat. And when it happens, it's not a personal attack on you. These are people who are losers and lowlives. And if you let that impact you, then that tells me that you are emotionally neutered. Now, you may have grown up emotionally neutered. That's not your fault. Where it is your fault is if you make the choice to stay emotionally neutered. So what do you do about it? I want you to start building up your emotional quotient. Get used to dealing with the suck factor. When you see something negative, there's a hater out there, someone's jealous of you, don't take it as a personal attack. Brush it off, move on, right? So that's thing number one. Thing number two is I want you to start becoming more decisive. Wrong or right, I want you to make a decision. Even if you make a decision that's the wrong decision, you're gonna soon know, and you can turn around and make a fast decision. And this isn't just about the important things in life. It's about the tiny little things. Should we have pizza or tacos, right? Should we do a drive-through or should we go skating? Whatever decision it is, make fast decisions, stick to those decisions if they're the right decisions, and if you soon find out that it was the wrong decision, course correct. It doesn't reflect on you as a person, and it certainly doesn't reflect on your character. Does that make sense? In addition to that, I want you to take personal responsibility for everything. Where you are today is a byproduct of the actions that you've taken. Your actions, of course, are a byproduct of your belief system, right? Your belief system is a byproduct of the people who raised you. And so you can change that because those people who raised you no longer have influence over you. They don't have influence over you. You can decide to read books on personal development, go to workshops and seminars on personal development, on leadership, on becoming a high-performance human, on how to deal with stress and adversity and overcome challenges. You can do all these things, but you have to make the decision today and not use the crutch from being emotionally neutered as an excuse for why you're unable to hold it together. So again, it's not the problem with millennials. The problem here is with an entire generation or two or three who were bubble wrapped, who were told that it's okay to fail. Listen, it is okay to fail, but it's not okay to stay down. So I hope this message hits home with you. I hope that you're able to take this message and apply it in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in the sport, or whatever it is, in your academics, and whatever it is you want to achieve. But I can tell you this, if you're swimming in the sea of mediocrity right now because you feel that you can't excel to your highest level of performance, or you can't become that high performance human that you're destined to be, I'm here to tell you right now that you can break out of it. And it starts by reading a book, surrounding yourself with the best mentors, taking action on the information that you learn, being decisive, taking responsibility, and building your emotional and adversarial muscles so you become stronger, more resilient, and mentally tough. I'll see you later.